Good morning and welcome to our Royal Television Society in conversation with Pascual Diaz. Delighted to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Welcome to Belfast Metropolitan College, and thank you to the college and to Aidan Brown for facilitating us this morning. To those at home, I just want to give a little bit of advice. We want to ask questions from the floor and from Zoom throughout the session. It is a conversation, so we want it from both sides. Please put up your hand in the audience if you would like to ask a question, and anyone at home, if you put your question into the Zoom Q&A box, we will have access to them here. So thank you very much. Pascual, welcome.
Thank you.
To our session. We are so happy to have you.
Yes, such an honor to be here, seriously. Thank you very much for inviting me.
No problem. And we wanted to start off just giving a little bit of information on who Pascual is and his background. So Pascual Diaz has a degree in advertising and a master's in television production, both completed in Spain. He started his professional career as a creative and a copywriter. He has experience in advertising, tech startup, and broadcast television. He is currently head of creative design at BBC Three and has joined the channel from his role as creative director at BBC News at 6 and BBC News at 10. His role involves creative direction, still designs, and motion graphics for BBC Three social media channel content. He looks specifically at the look, the feel, image and text templates, thumbnails, memes, and he looks after all the graphics on screen for several in-house productions, branding, logo design, and visual development. That is quite a lineup of different parts that you look after. And some of the shows that you would mainly look after is Normal People, This Country, Drag Race, and Glow Up. So a fantastic CV, and we're going to show a quick show reel so we see some examples of his work.
Mendes was named Best Director for the First World War film 1970.
Well, I'll tell you what, it speaks for itself. So impressive. And you're working on some of the biggest branded shows and content for the BBC across UK and the world. But can you tell us, has it always been straightforward for you? Give us an outline about your past, joining into your career. How did you get started in the industry?
So first I want to say again, thank you for having me here. It's such an honor. And also, like when you watch a show reel from someone who works on TV or social media, it's not coming only from me, it's coming from a big team, and it's always a big teamwork and team effort. So about my career, if you want, if you allow me, I can talk about my journey and how it has been not always a walk in the park. And as you may haven't noticed, because my accent is my English is very good. I am coming from Spain, and coming from I studied in advertising in Spain, and my first professional steps. I used to be a part of a music band. I play saxophone there for 10 years. So this band is part of a cultural organization. So I started helping them to communicate, to create campaigns, to promote stuff, and that was kind of my first step on my professional career, helping them. And at the same time, I was studying at a uni. Then I created with some friends a little studio, advertising studios, and we started like doing things for local festivals in my town, or helping companies. And it was a very low profile, but we were very young and we were full of ideas and we were a bit crazy. And it was a bit of the first contact with the real world and dealing with clients and dealing with the deadlines, budget, everything of that. And it was challenging, but it was very, very rewarding. And then I was lucky to get an European Union internship, and that basically was placing you in a for 6 months in a company all around Europe. But you have to look for your own placement. So I always wanted to live abroad. I always wanted to. I think United Kingdom in terms of television is like one of the biggest hub in the whole of Europe. And I was for me it was clear I wanted to go to London and try there. So I sent like maybe 500 emails to everywhere in London, or every channel, every TV company, Channel 4, BBC, ITV, everyone, the big ones, the small ones. And I was lucky enough that a small family business with several digital channels, they hire me. They give me they allow me to do the internship there for 6 months. And after that period, they were happy with me, and I was hired there. And that was very, very important for me because as an immigrant, it's very difficult to step up from a low qualification job to a qualified job. And I was lucky enough to have that internship from the European Union, which is now we're like the UK is not member anymore. So now the story is different. And I worked in that company for several years, and I'm very grateful for them because they gave me my first opportunity in this country. And it's always a professional journey. Is a adding of people trusting you, people giving you opportunities, and I'm very grateful for that. After a while, I moved to a tech company, but still it was a tech company, but still I was working on the TV side of it, like working on the TV campaigns for all around the world, the different countries. And that was the first time I worked on a TV campaign for Spanish national television. And I remember as a highlight, I was in a bar with my parents, and then the advert came on TV, and my mom was like super excited about it. And I was like, yeah, I work on that. And it's like it's a beautiful moment. And but because I have worked always, I have worked for a big period here in the UK. That it was my only chance to show my parents my work on national TV. And from that company, it was great because I work with a lot of young people, a very dynamic company. It's called BlaBlaCar. It's a carpooling company. They celebrated the other day the 100 million members. So it's a big company in Europe. It's not very famous here in the UK. And also, it gave me a lot of international experience working with different countries, working with marketing teams, communication teams, and it was very nice. And then, because things sometimes they have to go down to go up, then they closed the office in London, and they made us all redundant. So it was a bit like a crisis, life crisis. I work for 6 months as a freelancer, doing the same thing as was doing, but as a freelancer. I found out then that freelancing life is not for me. It's not for everyone in the same way as sometimes for some people, corporate working in a big corporation is not for them, and they want more freedom. So for me, freelancing wasn't for me. And that moment, I applied for several jobs here and there, and I can promise you, I was checking moving companies to go back to Spain when I get the email from the BBC, and I started at BBC News, working first at Global News, which is like international news for different countries, and then I moved to news at 6 and 10, and eventually I work as a creative director for News 6 and 10, and I realized there how amazing the team at the BBC is and how committed to the BBC values everyone is. And especially at News, I was very very lucky to work with a lot of young people that bring a lot of ideas and a lot of dynamism to the team, a lot of passion. And then at the beginning of 2020, I got a temporary position at BBC Three. I always wanted, I really like at news, but I always wanted to focus my career on the content side and entertainment side. I feel it's more aligned with my personality in a way. So I was lucky enough to get this temporary position, and in March 2020, and you know what happened in March 2020, right?
I think we all do.
So I went for one day to the office, and then the following day we were all sent home to work from home. And for the last 1 year and 9 months, we have been working from home. We have I have been back to the office for one day. It was like last month, only one day. But even for during those challenging moments that have been challenging for everyone in the whole world, it was very challenging to start in a new team. But the team is very supportive. The managers are very supportive. The head of the channel is very supportive. So I'm very lucky to work with these people. Also, I'm working with a lot in a very diverse team, which is very important for me, and working with a lot of young people with a lot of passion, a lot of professionalism, and we're trying to do our best in the conditions that we have been working for. But I think we have succeeded in delivering something good for this during these challenging times. And I'm very, very grateful to work with the team I work at the moment, and working in amazing projects at BBC Three.
Yeah, I know myself working firsthand. BBC Three is a fantastic channel, and the average age is 23 of the team, so it's so refreshing.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me a little bit about your current role, because obviously you have massive experience in lots of different areas of the industry, but specifically for head of content for BBC Three. Give me a general breakdown of your day. What type of things would you be working with or on?
So my role is because the team at BBC Three, even every production has a big team behind. The in-house team at BBC Three is not a massive team. So each one of us, we have to do a lot of things. We are not like we don't have very specific roles. So my roles is a mix of I do graphic design, I do motion graphics, I do creative direction. I act in a way as a brand guardian, but if for someone who doesn't know what that is the person supervising that the brand is applied in the correct, and the branding is applied in the correct way, in a correct way in our output. I'm a bit of the person in the channel to go to when there's any kind of a matter related with design. So branding or look and feel, and I work specifically on social media. I work extending the look and feel of the programs to social media, and how that translates to social media, and how we can extend the world of those specific shows to social media. I have. Going to specifics, I work from logo design to branding design to graphics on screen to look and feels, and I have been lucky to work on big hits like Normal People, who was the biggest new series from BBC in the last decade. I think it was huge. Drag Race UK, Glow Up, the Rap Game UK. Normal this country, so I have been very lucky to work on those projects.
Yeah, and obviously with BBC Three being a digital channel, design and graphic and grabbing your audience is so instrumental for the performance. Yeah. What are those key areas for somebody who's a content creator and they're trying to put their content online on different platforms? What would you say are the key parts of that branding that really captures an audience?
I think because we live in a very visual world, design has a key part on delivering your content, because we are constantly bombarded by so many visual so many things that they want to grab our attention. So I think design is key to to do several things, as you were saying, attracting the attention of the person, attracting the attention of our audience. Also, like to communicate through design and communicate through social media or through the platform that we are using, what's our content in a visual way. So you look at something and you get the flavor and the tone of the content, and you decide if you are interested in that content. And also a third part is like to invite the person to continue consuming our content. It can be on the iPlayer, can be on linear, can be on social media. So I think the design is key on those aspects. I will say that because we live in a very integrated world, and specifically BBC Three, our audience is like very young people, like all the people we have here. So it's important to know what our target audience is consuming, not only in terms of media and in terms of audiovisual content, more like what brands they like, what clothes they're wearing, what video games they're playing, because at the end, design is everywhere. So we try to be aware of the trends, of the design trends in multiple areas, and to see what our audience is like consuming and how. And we try to translate that to our design to attract that audience and to present the content we produce. And I think that's very important, because at the end of the day, what we want is to serve our audience. Just that one of the main aims of the BBC is like to make the most of what we are offering, and to serve the audience what they want to have. It's not the other way around. We are not okay, this is what we have for you. No, it's like we are constantly designing and producing things that fit what our audience wants. And I think design is a key part there.
Amazing. Yeah, I really think I agree. And what would you say is your biggest success to date on these different projects or brands? What would you really feel proud of?
So I would say that in the last year and 9 months, it was very. I consider a big success that we delivered these amazing campaigns, and we deliver campaigns like Normal People, like Drag Race UK, like two seasons of Glow Up, because it was a very challenging time. We delivered a big team effort. The things went very smoothly. It was a massive team effort. Mm-hmm. So I consider that a success. I mean, for me, maybe it doesn't sound very fashionable, but I differentiate like real success from success for your ego in a way. So for me, as I was saying to you before, watching your advert on TV, that's amazing for your ego. It's like, oh my God, I'm so good, my advert's on TV. Or like when you watch the news and you watch your graphics behind the screens on the studio, and you're like, wow, look at that, BBC News. But or when on a Thursday, when this, like right now we are in the middle of a Drag Race campaign, you go on a Thursday, and I designed the little emoji that it appears when you use the hashtag Drag Race UK. So the emoji appears. I designed that, and I have it in my computer. I feel like, wow, everyone is using it. That's very good for the ego. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's real success. I think the real success is like you are able to deliver what was you were able to fulfill the objective of what you were asked for. So you deliver something on time, on budget, and you work on that in a very well assembled team. Everything went very smoothly, and at the end you tick all the boxes and you deliver the content, and that's something that I learned from when I was working at BBC News, that every day you have to create something new, and no matter how good or bad in terms of in some other terms it is, at the end of the day it's going to go on air, and it's going to be a small piece of a whole thing. And at the end of the day, at the end of today's news, that's gone, that's done. It fulfilled it ticks all the boxes, and it's done. And fits its purpose, and tomorrow will be another day with new graphics, and we will need to create new things. So it's also like taking a bit of the ego pressure. Like, we don't do things for likes. We don't do things for getting a lot of views. We don't do things for getting awards. We do things for fulfilling the purpose of the content we are putting out.
100%. It's nice to get awards.
It is nice.
It doesn't keep you in a job.
So if
you don't do
everyone watching, if they want to give us awards, we're
welcome for them. And one of the things we chatted about earlier was before the session that BBC Three which lives on digital, is going linear.
Yeah.
Which is massive. It's going back out onto our screens on linear television, even though we live a lot on digital. Is that going to impact your role at all? Will that have a massive impact, or will you still have the same impact or the same push as you did on digital? Does it change it much?
The way it's going to impact all our roles at BBC Three is like we are going to have much work to do in different places, but I think also another thing is happening right now. I don't know if you're aware of, but the BBC as a whole is going through a big rebranding. The logo has been changed, but not only the logo, the whole branding system has been changed. It has been implementing like in different stages. It hasn't been like a switch from one day to the other. Mm-hmm. So, for example, now you can watch BBC 4 and the logo is the new logo, mm-hmm. and the iPlayer is going to change. Everything is going to change on the BBC, and everything is going to be more cohesive and coherent visually. Mm-hmm. So, at BBC Three, we have those two very challenging things, but very big opportunities to do great things. That is like the BBC rebranding, and also like going to linear TV, back to linear TV. I think definitely design is going to be a big part of getting back to linear TV. We want to say we are back there. We have been on digital for a long time, but we are going back to linear. I think obviously design needs to be aligned with the general character of the channel. It has to be aligned with our audience, and it has to be aligned with our content. And at the end of the day, it will be a success if all those changes support our content and deliver our content to our audience, which is the final aim. I haven't been super actively involved in those two big projects because they were done by external agency, but we have been like kind of checking in and supervising. And I'm super excited for those to go on air. I hope our audience likes them, and as I was saying, they serve our content and they highlight our content, which is the final aim of any design. That in a way, I feel good design, and I think this is going to be good design. It's so integrated in the content, so integrated in the final product that you can't differentiate it. It's not very. It's even if it's a bit against my ego. It's like if nobody noticed the design, is a good thing because it's integrated with the whole thing, in my opinion.
Just a reminder, folks, if you do have any questions as we chat, please do raise your hand, put your questions in the Q&A box online. I just want to ask you a little bit more now, Pascual, because a lot of people would have, they want to know how you succeeded, how you've gone from, almost shipping all your belongings back to Spain to now sitting on one of the biggest broadcasting channels in the world. And what I would say is, or what I would ask is, what advice would you give to those who are trying to enter the world of work in this industry?
I would say that I know that starting is difficult. Starting your career is difficult. I feel like nowadays is even more challenging than when I started, because things are changing very fast, and the actual situation. I will say that be confident of what you have, because you have a lot of good things. You are young, you have a very fresh mind, and that's very needed in companies, in content, your point of view, and that's a very big asset of young people. I would say that try to build your portfolio. I mean, it's important to have a portfolio. It's important that you show your work and your talent. And you have many tools in front of you. You have the internet, which you can put your content there. Build your portfolio. Like I would recommend always, like try to work with someone who may need your help, and you can help them professionally. Like for example, you know, family, someone from your family that has a business. Maybe they will need a logo. Maybe they will need a video. Maybe they will need a website. Showcase your work there. And that's a first step for building up your portfolio. And one thing is like never underplay yourself and your work. So even if you did a logo for your uncle who has a fruit shop, that's work that you have done, and don't be scared of putting on your portfolio. Don't put it on your CV, because it's a brave thing to do. It's a way of showing what you can do professionally. I would say also like don't be scared of showing your personality through work. I think that's very important, and it takes a lot of confidence to show your personality through work. But at the end of the day, when they hire you, they're hiring you as your personality. And for example, we have people, and we have a lot of very young people on our team. Some of them, they're passionate about horror movies. There's always going to be a chance to do some content related with that. People passionate about comedy, there's always going to be a moment to use someone who has that talent. And I think that's very, very, very important to showcase your work and showcase your personality, and show it in your portfolio, or show it in a way that you can show it to someone who is going to be who wants to hire you, I would say.
So I'm just going to take a question from the floor. We're going to go ahead.
Hi.
My name is Matthew. I'm studying on the HND for creative media production. And I just have a question here, and thank you for answering. Do you feel that like it's limiting in terms of your content to constantly follow trends? Like, do you ever feel that like you wanted to do something different that wasn't always obeying to like the current trends?
I think obviously we have to follow trends. We have to follow where people are. We have to be where people are. Like, for example, our audience in terms of social media, they are not very present right now on Facebook, for example. Mm-hmm. But maybe 5 years ago, they were very present there. So we have to follow that. And so they're more present maybe on Instagram, maybe on TikTok. In terms of, I assume that you're asking about like more like about like audiovisual trends, right? In a way. Yeah, I think it's very important that you always have one. You always you don't leave like a more traditional way of communicating, but you complemented that with trends, and I think it's important to be part of a team that is very agile and is very open to do changes. And as a professional, you need to be permeable of trends, changes. You need to be, as I was saying before, you need to be a bit of turn off your ego, and maybe your work, it won't be the way you want to showcase it. It has to follow a trend. It has to follow specific media. It has to follow specific direction. Brand constraints in terms of the BBC, obviously, BBC like the guidelines and all of that. But at the end of the day, if it's going to be better for your content, if it's going to serve your audience better, I think is the way to go. I don't know if that answered your question, more or less.
All right. Thanks very much.
Oh, we have one more question, so we'll just wait for this gentleman to come down the steps very quickly. Thank you very much.
Hi.
Hello.
Hiya, so my name is Luke and I'm studying currently film level 5 HND. So my question is what is an effective method of reaching people that work in the creative media industry today?
What do you mean reaching people?
So for example, as someone who doesn't have that much content to showcase, like for example, to put on a portfolio, what is a way to get into more production-based content or to get more content so then you can have on your portfolio to showcase to higher up in the industry?
So I was saying I know that is not easy. I know that sometimes you may find yourself that you don't have the resources, or you are not part of a big team. But I will say that never underplay what you create. I mean, even if you create a TikTok, it can be an amazing way of showing your talent. If you are creating a video for YouTube, it can be an amazing way of showing your talent. If you're an illustrator, I mean, you can do so many things. I mean, you can help someone from your family has a business and they may need your help. You can collaborate with non-profitable companies, organizations, and create content for them that you can then put on your portfolio. So at the same time, you're helping someone, and at the same time, you're helping yourself. You can even do case studies. Like, for example, you see some content that we are doing at BBC Three, and you think you could be better. Do it and post it online and say, okay, this is the way I will do it. Don't think. I mean, as a person in the industry, when we see your work, we know that you are working by yourself basically, or you don't have the budget, you don't have the resources. But we appreciate that you are showing talent there, you're showing your skills there. And we know that when you have the opportunity to join a team and you are going to be supported by the team and you're going to have the resources, you're going to showcase that in the same way that you did it when you didn't have those resources. I can tell you, like, my first job in London. So basically, I was the only designer there, and our resources were very limited. I was mainly working on doing not very fashionable. So I was doing mainly adverts for caravans, motorhomes, and boats. I didn't know anything about those before joining that. And then after a period there, I was an expert in caravans and motorhomes. I was driving around. Oh, wow, look at that caravan. I forgot everything. And so sometimes we have to create one advert with one logo. That's everything we have. So even sometimes not having a lot of resources is very good for creativity. So what can I do with just one logo? Let's do like a 10 seconds video with one logo, or let's film my friends this weekend and let's do something, or let's film my day-to-day life. It's a way of creating content that even if you look at it and you think this looks very amateur, for someone for someone in the industry is going to show some talent, and it's going to show what you are able to do. So I 100% encourage you to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So there you go, folks. Make sure you're creating lots of content. Keep
Yeah.
putting those TikTok videos up. And you actually said to me earlier on that TikTok is a really impressive platform because it's got authenticity, and a lot of the things that you work on or
Yeah.
you achieve, you find that there's inspiration in what people are doing day to day. Would you advise people to tag BBC Three, tag other broadcasters when they're publishing their content?
Maybe tagging them is not the best way. I assume. I mean, I don't know other companies. I assume it will be similar, but I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn from young people asking how they can join the BBC, or how they can step in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, like, the BBC, like, be aware of the different schemes that they have, like we have for the students, that they are open now and then. But you have to be aware of internships and apprenticeships. Like a lot of colleagues that are now part of the team, they started that way, and it's a very good way of starting and having a foot on the industry. I will say, be prepared, be savvy about all the content you create and don't underplay it, and then put it in your portfolio. So when one of those opportunities open, you have something to show, and you have something to put there. Also, don't be scared. As I was saying before, about being very passionate about your passions, because if there is one thing that we need is passionate people, and people who believes in what they are doing. And I'm sure that a lot of people here are very passionate about what they like, and there is always a space for passionate people. And in terms of, for example, you were mentioning TikTok. We got our own TikTok channel at BBC Three, like I think around 1 month ago. And I think, yeah, we as a big brand, we always admire the authenticity of content created by users. So that's a big asset that everyone has in their hands to create, and it's on your hand to do it. I mean, if you have the equipment and the opportunity, I encourage people to create content in that way and then add it to the portfolio.
Brilliant. That's really good advice. Thank you, Pascual. So we have another question. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is James Mullen. I'm like doing the level 5 HND factual journalism or broadcast journalism at Belfast Met, really creative media. And like, because I'm actually glad I'm actually doing this course, because like I actually like to do TV and film, but I'm actually glad I'm doing it has journalism in it as well. So I'm getting, because I've always feel like in TV and filming, it's kind of like overlapping really, like just to get, because it's kind of good. But I've been making like of these past over lockdown, making TikToks really. Got on TikTok, and then past 4 I was into YouTube, making a lot of content on YouTube really, for maybe family trips away, doing youth work, church, and all ranges really. And I just want to like see if like because I have applied for like a few applications really for BBC and other broadcasting companies, and I said, what are your hobbies and interests? What have you been doing? And last thing I did do was maybe this BBC apprenticeship. I filled in the application for, I don't know, what have you been doing, like social media wise really. I mentioned TikTok, and that's since that's the more popular trend at the moment. But just like see like in like in terms of is there any like since you work for BBC Three and the BBC, is there any like avenue you can maybe like see when you're uploading content really, and you want to get the attention of like so the BBC or UTV or anything? Is there like sort of like a hashtag or an email you maybe send them or just view your contents on YouTube or TikTok really, just so it's just so maybe your contacts going to the right people that may say, oh, that's good really, you mean that type of thing. I know I'm asking too much there, so I am.
No.
Sorry.
It makes sense.
But just
I think you when you are applying to a company, especially a big company, especially the BBC, is quite a bureaucratic place. There is a lot of processes, and there is a lot of so because at the end of the day, they want to give everyone the same opportunity. So the way of accessing has to go through processes. It was the same on my case. Like for example, I applied for 3 different positions at the BBC, and I was rejected 3 times until I got hired at the BBC News. So that's another thing I forgot before. Like when you apply to places, be aware and be ready to be rejected. I know it sounds hard, but I mean, I don't want to scare anyone, but we are all have been rejected in our life. But I encourage you to see if you can get feedback from those processes that can help you to build maybe some areas that maybe you can build, and then try again. Maybe sometimes not getting into a company or not getting into an organization is also good for you, because maybe you are not ready for the position, and even if you are going to go through not a very good time, because I have been to the places that I have been doing something I have felt like this is not the place I want to be. I'm not ready for this, and then you have a lot of pressure. So think that maybe you got rejected because you are not a fit from the company, but also like the company is not a fit for you. It's like both ways. And but keep trying and keep building your profile and see if they can indicate you what areas of your profile they look that you can complete them a bit more. And about what you were saying, like tagging people and stuff, I don't think it's a very effective method, to be honest, because I mean, our people working on social media, they're all the time, they're very into social media, and they're very social media consumers, and they see a lot of talent there. But maybe they don't have the power to hire you, and even if they have the power to hire you, it has to go through processes and stuff. So I would say, as I said before, work on your portfolio, go through and be sure that you have it ready when an opportunity opens. I'm sure. I'm sorry, I'm not super useful on that case of finding that.
That's very helpful.
Thank you, and thank you much for
Thank you.
Come on, Pascual.
Thank you for the question.
That's very key then to my next question. So, you know, obviously you have to go through the proper channels, because obviously big broadcasters have a lot of competition, and like you said, you might identify talent, but if there's no position available, it's very difficult to give people an opportunity. When people do come through those channels, as an employer, what skills do you want from those applying for your organization? So for your team, what skills are you primarily looking for?
Personally, I really, and I think one of the skills that I much appreciate is like people who are very good at working on a team. Is a team player. People that can be flexible is also a big asset. As I was saying before, every job you have, there's going to be times that you are going to work on things that maybe they don't attract you a lot to do, but you have to be flexible to adapt to and to work in very different stuff. In our case, I think and it was very similar at BBC News. It's important to be reactive. It's important to be resourceful. Because of time constraints, because of budget constraints, because sometimes you have to do a lot of things at the same time. You have to be a bit multitask. Maybe if you know a bit of everything, and then after in your career you can also like to specialize in something that attracts you more, or you think you are better at. I think it's also important to bring passion to the table, as I said before, and also to bring not to be afraid of bringing a very different profile, and not in a way, considering what you can consider a weakness, maybe turn it around and consider something strong that you have. Like, for example, English is not my first language, obviously, as you can hear. So for me, it has been very challenging to work in a professional environment, and it's still challenging now, and I have been living in the UK for 10 years. So, but at the same time, I bring to the table something different. I bring to the table maybe a more international profile. So it's a way of transforming your weakness in something, in a strong point from yourself. So I think that if each one of you, you have things that maybe you'll think, I don't want nobody to notice about this, but maybe that's a good thing that you're bringing to the table. And as I was saying before, you think, oh, I'm young, I don't have experience. Well, you have the good thing of being young, which is like you're fresh, you're coming with good ideas, you are very attached to what young people is obviously doing. You will have even a bit radical way of thinking, which is always great in big organizations, established organizations. So I think that's very important. I think I have things right down here because I don't want to forget. I think in terms of in the technical skills, obviously it depends on the job you are applying to. So if you are motion graphics, you need to know more about those software or technical skills. I think it's very there's a lot of knowledge. I mean, available to everyone. I mean, you are in an amazing university here. Is the equipment you have is amazing, it's great, and so make the most of it. And you have the resource here. The people watching from their homes, if you have the resource, if you have a computer and you can get those programs, I will encourage you to learn a lot from your bedroom. That's a lot what I did. I complement my studies with I'm a bit of a nerd, so working from home and doing things in my computer, and even if you don't share that work with anyone, at the end of the day is like a pilot that is getting flying hours. So at the end, if you can get to an interview with 100 flying hours on an editing suite or in a design software, that's something that you have and nobody's going to take from you. So I think that's very important. I think for the BBC, it's like very important, like if you want to apply to something for some position in the BBC, it's very important that you believe in the BBC values, especially in putting the audience first. Is everything we do, we put the audience first. So I was saying before, we are not working to satisfy our egos. We are not working to do something that is it's going to be rewarded with an award. Even if we get awards, that's great. We do things for the audience, so audience first. And also I appreciate like people who puts people before work, especially we have been through COVID times, and I'm very lucky and I appreciate that I have been in a team that they put people before work. So the most important thing at the end of the day was the people's well-being, and I'm very grateful for that. And I really appreciate people who they give importance to their work, but they put people first, because it's never the other way around, because we need people to do work and not the other way around. So that's.
And another question here on the floor, please.
I'm Judy. I'm doing my HND in broadcast journalism, which is what I'm really passionate about. And I was just wondering, because I know with journalism, it's kind of the same. It's very easy to get burnt out because you're working so hard because it's what you really want to do. Is there anything you do to avoid like burnout or overworking and overstressing? Because I think it can really like damage your work and what you put out if you're too stressed or have too much pressure. How do you separate yourself from other people's expectations, your own expectations, and how do you avoid wanting just to like throw in the towel and quit if it ever gets too difficult or stressful? Because that's what I struggle with quite a lot.
Great question.
Yeah, I think I can talk about my particular case right now at the BBC. We are lucky enough that it's an organization that take care of all our well-being, and they have a lot of things putting in place. Like you have support if you need it, and our managers and everyone in charge of the channel has been very supportive during these times, and we all know that it has been very challenging for everyone. I think it's also a thing that the pressure that you put on yourself and the stress is something that also it will get better with time. It's also like you are growing as a professional at the same time you are growing as a person. And in the same way that some things that you struggle when you are in your 20s, you know yourself better when you're in your 30s and you start adjusting it, kind of. And it's important that you deal. I mean, for example, in my case, I deal sometimes with my inner saboteur or your imposter syndrome. Like, for example, you were watching my show reel and I was like looking like at the end I was like, that thing is like, it wasn't perfect. You know, we all have those struggles. You just have to go through it, but I would say take care of yourself. Don't take it too personal. At the end of the day, it's just work. you are more important than what you do. And you are, and most important thing, the problem with creative work, or maybe also journalism as well, is like we believe we are what we produce, and that's not true. We are one thing, and what we produce is some other thing. For me, it's very disturbing sometimes, especially if I have a bad day. I open my phone, I go to Instagram, and I see some of my work on my feed, and I see everything that I don't like is there, and I think I could have done this better. So you have to separate from that yourself from that. You have to put yourself first. You have to take care of yourself. Rely on your team. That's also very important. It's important to communicate when you are having a difficult time or you are struggling. Communicate, and I'm sure someone is going to be there for helping you. You don't have to do everything by yourself. You are not alone. You are most of the time going to work with a team. And even when you work alone, I don't know if you are interested like in writing or whatever, like in journalism, writing journalism. I think like showing your work to people that you trust and showing your work to people that you love and they love you, and they can be very supportive and they can criticize you in a very gentle way. And don't be hard with yourself. It's your work, and you. There's only one way you are going to get better. It's like working more on that. So in 10 years, you will look at something that you have done today, and you will see things that you loved, and then you will see things that you hate. But that's in the past, and you are growing.
Thank you very much.
No
Thank
worries.
you.
Words of wisdom. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you for that question.
I'll be coming to final questions in the next few minutes, folks. So just to let you know, we're going to answer a question that's come through from online.
Perfect.
From Stuart. Do you work with BBC Creative? And if so, how does that relationship work?
So BBC Creative, for those who don't know, is like a creative agency inside the BBC that that does a lot of work, like big campaigns, rebranding, marketing campaigns and stuff. We work very closely in campaigns like, for example, Drag Race, Normal People, the really big campaigns. I think it could be more integrated in the BBC, like what they do and what we do, because in a way we're like in-house, and they're like they work as an external agency, but they're part of the BBC. I think they produce amazing campaigns and amazing content, and I think we coordinate quite well, and the proof is like we deliver campaigns, joint campaigns, and the results are there, and I think it could be a bit more of integration. Is maybe because of lately it's not the same working from home. We are all very isolated, and that has been very challenging. So working with other teams is you don't have that thing of going to the desk of someone and talk to that person, and something that can be resolved by the tea station and having a tea in 2 minutes. It needs an email chain and going through things. But yeah, I think our relation is quite good, and I'm very happy with to work with them, and they are a very talented team, and we're very grateful to have them.
Great. Another question here on the floor, thanks.
Hi, my name's Ryan, and I'm studying broadcast journalism as well. I wanted to thank you as well. You've been really like insightful, so I'm loving that. But I wanted to know, like, I wrote it down. How do you navigate targeting certain groups and audiences on social media? Like, especially on a Thursday, you'd be targeting more of the Drag Race LGBT audience, and then the next day, like an entirely different audience. How do you keep that cohesive and apply it to different audiences on social media?
Yeah, and so yeah, thank you for the question. Very interesting. What we have in our BBC Three channel accounts, as you are saying, is very. We have a lot of content there. It's like it's a bit of a, I don't know, like you have very different shows, but I mean, as every channel, in a way, a channel is like it's like having a friend that you trust that is going to recommend you the good stuff. And then we have dedicated channels for big programs like Drag Race, like Glow Up, like the Rap Game UK, Normal People. Now one of our latest shows is I Like the Way You Move, which is like dancing and dating. It has a very nice show. So in a way, we try to maintain the balance on the main account of all those shows plus minor shows. But as I said before, I think the tone of voice of the channel, the way we address the audience is a bit like that friend that you know that is going to recommend you good stuff, and you know that your friend sometimes is going to recommend you something that you are not going to like a lot, and it's not maybe your profile, but that maybe if you watch it you will like it. So I'm sure that the big fans of Drag Race UK, maybe they are not going to be big fans of the Rap Game. They are very different audience, but we are coexisting in the same space, and maybe if you give us a chance to a different content, you're going to be surprised that maybe finding something different new. But yeah, it's challenging to keep that balance. What my colleagues, my amazing colleagues, and they're very, very talented, the social media producers, they tend and they rely a lot on comedy and on humor and on memes. They created a lot of talkability about like memes created from our shows, and I think that kind of banter, that kind of fun side is very universal for every kind of audience. So if you can see a meme from the Rap Game, and even if I think you like more Drag Race UK, as you are saying, yes, maybe you will enjoy the meme, and then one day maybe you will find that you really like Rap Game UK. Yeah, it's challenging. Thank you,
Brian. Thank you very much. We're just going to be wrapping up very quickly, Pascual, but I just wanted to give you could you give us some parting words of wisdom, specifically for CVs, because obviously that's the first port of call for someone to be noticing your work and who you are through the likes of the bigger broadcasters. What's the key thing to keep on a CV, or the key thing to remove? What do we need to see on there?
So I will say that with CVs, going specifically to the document CV is one size doesn't fit all. So it's important that every time that you apply for a different position, even the structure, even the basics are going to be the same. It's important that you customize that to the position. So you have to go. This is it's like a process. You go through the job description, and you see what parts of that matches what your experience and your profile has, and you modify your CV. Like for example, if you have worked in a specific project, mention the parts that fit the job you are applying to, and maybe don't mention other parts that they are not very aligned with what they are asking for. I will say also like show your creativity in your CV. You can make that. You can show that in many different ways. Show you're passionate. Show your interests. Show a bit of your personality. If you are a big fan of football, put it there. If you are a big fan of Drag Race, put it there. If you are a big fan of theater, put it there. I'm sure sometimes what it makes the difference between one CV and the other is those small things, because sometimes when we go to very detailed things, some CVs are going to be very similar in the technical part, and what it can make the difference is like the experience you have, how you communicate your experience, and your profile as a person. It's important, I would say, in the portfolio, especially in creative industry, having a portfolio, having a website, having a show reel, even showing your Instagram profile if you think it fits the purpose and you're showcasing your content there. Why not? Showing your TikTok profile, if it's showing what you are and what you are able to do, put it there. no project is small, as I said before. Don't underplay your talent, underplay what you have done. One thing I really like is when a CV is organized. Is a very basic thing, but some CVs are not very organized, and it's important to see everything very clear, very clean, very accessible. And one thing is like show us your experience, that anything that is transferable to the work you are applying to. So imagine you have been working in a bar and you are applying for a work at the PPC. You see how is this connected with this work? So you have been working in a bar, so we know what people in a bar go through in a day. They have to deal with clients. They have to work under pressure. So those are good bits that you can incorporate, especially if you don't have a lot of experience in the area you are applying for. So if I see that someone has worked for 2 years in a bar, I know that person has a lot of patience, and they know how to deal with difficult situations. They know how to deal with clients. So that's an important thing. And I mean, nothing is not important to put in your CV. I mean, obviously, if you have been working on an area for 10 years, then you are going to focus more on that specific area you want to work on. But if you are starting, I would say no experience is less than other.
Thank you so much. That's fantastic advice. I just want to say thank you very much, folks, for tuning in at home and turning up today. Massive thanks to Belfast Metropolitan College for their hospitality, to Ian Brown and our technical team. And finally, massive thanks to Pascual Diaz for joining us today. Thank you on behalf of RTS NI and those here at home. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.